I remain, cautiously optimistic that Trump will bring the necessary decisiveness to get something done here, because we have to face it that it's not the issue is not what will Trump do, is Trump going to be a disaster for Ukraine. The fact is that our current policy has been inadequate, to put it mildly, for years. And we've been drifting, both the United States and the UK, failing signally to give the Ukrainians, give the world any clear sense of where we see this thing ending up. And how can we expect the Ukrainians to continue to shed their blood in the way that they are, and to fight so heroically in the way that they do, with so little sense of what we, their supporters, actually regard as the goal? What's the plan? And we never spell it out. And I think this is becoming a major drawback to the hopes of delivering peace and getting the outcome we all want. Unless and until the British government, Starmer, the US government, now Donald Trump, spell out where this is going, you're just going to see more loss of life and more suffering. So I hope that what Trump will do is see that there is no way through this for him except by strengthening Ukraine and getting the Ukrainians to negotiate from the strongest possible position. And I argue that because I don't think that Trump can begin his second presidency, his triumphantly achieved second presidency, his astonishing victory. I don't think he can begin by vitiating that, by risking a capitulation to Putin and the humiliation of the United States, because that's what, and of NATO, because that's effectively what it would be if he were to pull the plug on the Ukrainians. So my assessment is that he can't begin like that, and that therefore we will see tough Trump, and tough Trump that we saw before, when he gave the Ukrainians the javelins, when he kicked out the Russian spies, and that's what I'm hoping for. Now, maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm wrong, maybe he has some, maybe there will be some disaster, but I really hope not. All the evidence from the war so far is not that the problem has not been escalation. The problem has been the failure to escalate fast enough. It's been the dithering and the delay and the nickel and diming of the measures. And frankly, the problem in 2023, 2024 was the crippling delay in getting the supplementary assistance through Congress. That was a nightmare for Ukraine. We've had the delay on the permissions for the ATACMS and the Storm Shadows and the Scarpies and so on. The Germans refusing to give Taurus. I mean, it's been pathetic. I get back to my earlier question. How we are? Let's face it. We're waging a proxy war. We're waging a proxy war, but we're not giving our proxies the ability to do the job. And for years and years now, we've been allowing them to fight with one hand tied behind their backs, and it has been cruel. It has been cruel, and we need now to give them what they need. So 3 things we need to do to get this thing done. We need to give them the weaponry they need, give them the permissions they need, give them all the military support, logistical, tactical we can, that without coming into direct conflict with the Russians ourselves. Number 2, we need to give them the money, and I've talked about the 300 billion. But number 3, we need to make it. We need to get absolutely. And by the way, we should do more than just the 300 billion. We should construct a kind of lend-lease loan for Ukraine. and of $500 billion or whatever, so that Putin knows. This is all about Russia knowing what the end state is. To get back to my key point, the Ukrainians, the Russians, the world has to know where we, America, UK, Europe, want this thing to end up, and we have allowed that ambiguity to drift on and on and on, and that is the whole problem with Ukraine. Unless and until we clear it up, you won't persuade Putin to back down and you won't get a peace. So, weapons, money, NATO. The three things, and we need to set out the teleology of this, the end state. It's give them the weapons, give them the tools, give them the money, and set out for the world to see how we envisage the end state of this conflict. Because it's only then that the Kremlin will finally say, well, right, okay, NATO, whatever you say, is still the most powerful military organization in the world that, frankly, could kick Putin's ass several times over. They are going to guarantee Ukraine. I better find an accommodation, and then he will move. There was a general problem with the way that Europe handled Ukraine, and a lot of it's in the book, and a lot of it's in Unleashed, which was that the Ukraine dossier was held by France and Germany under European Common Foreign and Security Policy. It was a Franco-German project, the so-called Normandy format, which was totally ludicrous and shameful that the UK wasn't at the table. And in 2014, we just decided not to turn up to the relevant meeting at Normandy, and that was why the whole mess began. And so France and Germany treated the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2014 as though it was a kind of marital tiff between two equally guilty domestic partners, and it was they were sort of therapists saying no, can't you sort this out? It wasn't that way at all. It was a bloody invasion, and then it got worse. So the one casualty that I don't regret in the carnage is the Normandy format and the Minsk process, because that was truly not in the interest of Ukraine. I don't want to see more bloodshed. I want to see a solution, but the only solution is victory, and that's why I really hope we'll see decisive action now from America.